veil between the living and dead is so thin you can feel the spirits brushing against your skin. And there's nothing more terrifying than those that linger here with unfinished business. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're exploring the deadliest camping mistakes that will get you lost forever. So don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's get into the video. 5 friends made a pact to spend one last summer together, camping in the old and very remote redwood forest. Legend has it that decades ago, people began disappearing here without a trace. The most recent case was a hiker who had been reported missing 3 weeks earlier. Despite extensive search efforts, no sign of him or his tent had been found. The sheriff suspected foul play, but had little evidence to go on. Local rumors blamed vengeful Native American spirits, Bigfoot attacks, or something even more sinister. People warned the group not to venture out alone because the woods have a way of claiming what it wants. But eager to spend one last hurrah together before going their separate ways in college, the 5 friends decided to push their luck. They picked up stakes and headed deep into the whispering woods. A few hours later, they arrived at a secluded clearing, set up their tent, and settled down around a crackling fire. With hearts full of anticipation and trepidation, they listened as Leo, the resident daredevil, spun ghost stories of the forest. He told them about the hikers who sometimes heard their own voices calling them from between the trees, before vanishing without a trace. If they were close enough to hear the voice, it meant the forest was calling them home. There was no escape. Sarah, ever the skeptic, rolled her eyes at these superstitions. She couldn't believe how gullible people could be. It was all a trick of the mind, she insisted, nothing more than that. She wandered off alone to film a vlog. The others watched as her headlamp dwindled into the darkness, swallowed by the thickening shadows. They knew she'd be back before long. After all, the woods weren't exactly welcoming at this hour. Besides, Sarah wasn't the type to stick her neck out for a thrill. But when 20 minutes had passed and still no Sarah, unease began to creep upon them like fog. She should have been back by now. Had she fallen? Were those stories true? Was the forest taking her? Panicked, they pushed deeper into the forest, calling her name, their voices cracking with fear. The trees seemed to press closer, forming a dense wall on either side. Their flashlights strained to pierce the oppressive darkness, revealing nothing but gnarled branches clawing at the sky. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent fresh jolts of terror through them. Suddenly they heard it, a faint sound carried on the wind, a muffled scream. It was Sarah. She was alive. Hope surged through them, guiding their steps forward. Suddenly, Leo stopped, his face ashen. He strained to listen. What was that? A whisper, so soft yet so clear it seemed to come from the trees themselves. It said his name, Leo, over and over. He looked back at the others, his eyes wide with dawning horror. They didn't hear anything, but as they stood there listening, the whisper grew louder, more insistent. It repeated their names, each one beckoning them deeper into the woods. The friends froze, caught between the pull of the mysterious voice and the instinct to flee. They wanted to run, to break free from the oppressive silence, but something held them there. Mesmerized by unseen forces, they were being lured away from the path, deeper and deeper into the heart of the ancient forest. Fear turned to panic as they realized the voice was leading them astray, intentionally, maliciously. The trees twisted and gnarled, reaching out like skeletal fingers. The ground became uneven, treacherous. The darkness pressed in on them, suffocating, heavy. They stumbled forward, their senses on high alert, straining to hear any sound that might betray their captor's presence. The air grew colder, sending shivers down their spines. And then they saw it. Huddled beneath a towering redwood, its roots like giant pythons, were the others, or what was left of them. Their forms twisted at unnatural angles, eyes wide with terror, frozen in postures of unending screams. The sight sent a fresh wave of terror crashing through Leo. The legend was true. The forest claimed those who entered its domain and damned their souls to wander here eternally. But there was no time to dwell on this macabre discovery. A new sound cut through the oppressive silence, the whisper. It was closer now, circling them, taunting them. They ran, stumbling over roots, crashing through underbrush, desperate to escape whatever unseen menace pursued them. But it was in vain. The whisper followed, growing louder, more insistent, until it echoed inside their minds. There was nowhere left to hide. The end was here. Leo found himself alone, surrounded by motionless figures frozen in silent screams. They whispered his name, their voices hollow echoes of their former selves, trapped between life and death. Panic seized him. He ran, crashing through undergrowth, desperate to flee the encircling whispers. But it was pointless. They followed, their voices slithering into his ears, seeping into his soul. There was nowhere to hide, nowhere to escape. Then the ground beneath his feet gave way. Roots thick as pythons shot out, coiling around him, pulling him down into the darkness. He struggled, flailing wildly, branches digging into his flesh, thorns tearing at his clothes. But it was no use. The forest was claiming him, dragging him down into its cold, unyielding embrace. With a final strangled cry, he went limp, the whispers enveloping him, drowning out the sound of his own terror. His body went slack, his eyes blank, another lost soul claimed by the wood's eternal darkness. As the first rays of dawn touched the forest floor, the spirits released their hold. Leo slumped to the ground, his chest heaving, his gaze wild with terror. But it quickly faded, leaving behind vacant eyes staring sightlessly into the trees. The forest had taken what it wanted, leaving behind only the echoes of their screams. When the sun finally rose over the redwood forest, it revealed a chilling sight. The friend's car sat abandoned in the clearing, its doors wide open, as if inviting the morning light to share in the horror that unfolded within. The windows were fogged up, the seats askew, remnants of a hasty departure. The engine was still warm, the keys still in the ignition, half-packed bag lay on the front seat, a stark reminder of the lives that had been cut short. In the eerie silence that followed, some swore they heard their names carried on the wind, a haunting chorus of the damned echoing through the ancient trees. If you enjoyed this scary camping story, stay tuned for more terrifying tales next time. Thanks for watching.